Welcome to the Unscripted Podcast. My name's Corby LaCroix, and the song you're hearing right now is called Great and Mighty One, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your music. But for now, recording from the Unscripted studio, here's your host and my friend, Aaron Conrad.
Great Redeemer, God of grace, come receive our songs.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Unscripted from myunscripted.com studios here in Columbus, Ohio. Speaking of Columbus, Ohio, right here in Hilliard, Ohio, I have a very special guest today, a guy that grew up in Hilliard, plays baseball. We can't do video today, but I'm rocking my Hilliard Derby baseball hat, even though my kids went to Davidson. Hey, Drew, can you introduce yourself? Let's go from there.
For having me on the podcast. I'm a big fan, in case you didn't know. Big fan of the show. But yeah, like you said, my name's Drew Neideffer, born Decatur, Illinois, then raised here in Hilliard, Ohio. Been here since I was 4 and grew up playing baseball, went to Hilliard Derby, won a couple championships there, and now I'm a freshman at Hocking College, carrying the love for the game at the collegiate level.
Yeah, we're gonna dig into all that. What brought you to Hilliard from, you said, Decatur, Illinois?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dad got a better job here in Columbus. Where we grew up in Decatur wasn't the safest of towns, and he didn't really want us to grow up in that atmosphere and go to those schools. And it's not a knock on the city. I still have family there.
Sure.
But we came here for better opportunities, better baseball, obviously. My dad wanted us to get the best competition. And going to Derby, you're playing the best of the best 4 days a week, and super thankful that we came here, and I have no regrets living here.
Yeah, man. So it's very funny because I grew up in Cleveland, as you said, not the best of neighborhoods, and I'm in Columbus now, and everything, life happens, and you get to where you're at. And man, first of all, thanks for being a fan of the show. Seriously, I'm not how many. So it's you and 3 other people that are fans, apparently. So thank you for doing that. But man, it's really cool to talk to you today. I have watched your journey because of our friends, the Roses. And so do you want to talk about them a little bit? I know they're special to you. They're very special to me. Got to baptize Jeremy Rose at some point in our journey in life. And yeah, that family is very special to me. Are they special to you as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So Bo and I, we've been best buddies since 2nd, 3rd grade. We went to Norwich together, obviously. Went to 6th grade together, and then he went the Davidson route while I went the Derby route. We stayed in touch. Didn't really hang out for a while. Just schedules never really aligned, but we rekindled that friendship a lot more towards senior year. We started doing everything together, and he's my best friend. I'd do anything for that kid. I'd do anything for the family. His family is great. His dad's great. His mom has the kindest soul ever, and his sister's awesome as well. They've taken me in as a second family, and I'm super appreciative of that, because there's probably a weekend where him and I aren't doing something together. We're always together. We're always motivating each other to be better, and he's an awesome guy. They're an awesome family.
They really are. They're amazing, and I love all of them, literally all of them. And let me ask you this. So you went to Derby, and let's just talk about your baseball journey. When did you start playing baseball?
Started in HBA, played T-ball, then eventually worked my way up to travel ball when I got to the age of 12. Played for the Ohio Dogs out of Grove City. It was the first team that I took in advance of my career. I was always one of the better skilled players on the field, but size was always my biggest weakness. Now, I wasn't born with the weight and the height, so I worked harder than everybody else to catch up in that factor, and it started to show once I got to high school. But to backtrack a little bit, I played for the Dogs from 11U till 15U. I played for the Midwest Marlins from 16 to 17U, and then I played for the SBA Bolts out of Hilliard my last travel season of 18U. So never really grew up playing for any of the Hilliard teams. Obviously the Marlins were out of Millersport, so it's a drive. But being able to play for a Hilliard team my last year was definitely something I'll never forget with some of my best friends.
Tell me again, the Bolts, is that what you said?
The SBA Bolts, yeah. So they were a new team. They're Showcase Baseball Academy is what they stand for.
Okay.
And they have a facility on, I think Norwich Parkway is the street. I could be wrong, but somewhere around there.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome. So I work for a facility that features a lot of players, and so I've been in that life, because my son also has played at Mount Vernon. That's not a brag, but I've been in that world, so I understand the amateur and travel baseball world a little bit. How hard was that grind for you? Did you enjoy it, or were you just, I just need to get to college?
Yeah, college has always been something I've wanted to do since I was in middle school. That's when I started taking my baseball a little bit serious, like more. I guess I advanced myself with how I trained and stuff, and so it was always something I loved. My parents always told my brothers and I, growing up, we're never going to force you to do any extracurriculars. It's always like on your own. We'll be there to support you. They can force us to do chores, stuff like that.
Yes. All right. What position do you play?
And they actually made me a pitcher this fall. I'll be pitching a little bit and playing the outfield.
Did you pitch in high school?
I did pitch a little bit. Actually, my career varsity ERA was a 0.00, and I threw about 10 innings. So,
come on, you serious?
Yeah, it was weird. I would throw. I think my total average pitches per inning was 4. I didn't throw any off speed. I just threw about 70 miles an hour, probably less. Just 2 strikes and trusting my defense to make the plays. Nothing special.
So now you're trying to, you are evolving into a pitcher? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so they want to two-way me a little bit. So this offseason, pitching's been one of the big focus points for me, is to develop my arm so I can throw harder and then more effective off-speed pitches.
How you doing that?
Like training-wise, or how's the training going?
Both.
Off-speed is definitely better from what it was in the fall. I've just been tinkering with it, playing catch. I played catch 2 to 3 times a week. So just throwing that slider, change-up to get a feel for it. And then training, it's really just been the weight room for me, just putting on size. I came into school at 145, and I think right now I'm nearing 155, 156, somewhere around there. I've just been eating and getting in the weight room 5 times a week. That's really the big thing for me, is what they told me in my fall meeting was just put on size, and you'll see the results that you want.
So tell me about your journey to get to, you said Hocking College, is that right?
Oh, I'd say the recruiting started for me a little bit during COVID. I reached out to some schools. It was mainly Georgetown University was the big one. That was the big school that was interested in me. And then just a couple small Division IIIs and JUCOs kind of contacted me as well. I went to my first camp my junior year, because freshman, sophomore year, they're not really looking at you from a Division III standpoint. They won't really start looking at you until your junior year. And that's the skill set I had at the time, was like a D3 JUCO guy, NAIA guy. So I just worked my tail off those 2 years to get to that point and had a pretty solid camp. They ended up offering me, it was College of Worcester. They ended up giving a look at me, and that's somewhere I wanted to go, but I didn't want to take the first offer that I had. I wanted to weigh it out. Senior year came around, and I just completely lost my love for the game of baseball. Just a lot of things around me affected me and how I felt about baseball. And so at that point, I didn't even know if I was going to play collegiately or not. It just got boring. I had a really bad season. I went through a rough patch that 2023 summer, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
But a couple other schools reached out to me. Terra State Community College was the first school probably the second school actually to offer me. And that's actually where I was committed to originally, was Terra State. I committed there middle of July, my summer going into my senior year. Went on a campus visit. I liked it. I liked the coaches. And then Hocking offered me and invited me out to visit sometime, I think that October. So a couple months after I was already committed. And there was something about Hocking that kind of pulled me away from Terra State and kind of made me realize, yeah, this is where I want to be. So I called the coach on National Signing Day. I'll never forget this. This was one of the worst phone calls I've had to make because I felt bad. But I was walking back I was actually at Crooked Can for lunch. I went to a restaurant there, and I remember calling the coach and telling him, like, I'm not going there anymore. And you could just tell in his voice, like, he was all happy when I called him first, and then it just went to his voice sank, and you could just tell he was upset. And I remember him telling me, I'm obviously disappointed in you for not coming here, but I got to find the next man that's going to replace you. And that one was like, I was like, it's a business, right? They're going to find the next guy to replace you if you're going to leave.
100%. Man, I think that's so cool. And so I do want to transition to that because I got to tell you, and you and I know each other a little bit. And again, thanks for being a fan. And we know each other because of the roses and everything. But here's the thing. We're friends on social media. And I have to read this because on August 6th, this popped up on my Facebook. And I have to read this. I hope you're okay with this. But
No, go ahead.
because I want everybody to know the young man I'm speaking to today, that this is his heart. And honestly, man, this one hit my soul when I read it. And so I want people to hear this. On August 6th on Facebook, you posted a letter, basically. And it basically, here's what it said. I'll read it, and I'll do my best to read it as well as I can. It said, "Dear Hilliard, man, what can I say? It's really that time. This isn't a goodbye. This is just an I'll see you later. 14 years ago, I left my family and hometown back in Illinois for a town that I didn't know anything about. A town where I often questioned, why do we move here? Why this town? But then it all hit. God picked me to live here for a reason. Now, we only being 4 years old at the time, I was focused on things such as what color my garbage truck would be and where I would put all of my toys, the important ones. But as I got older and more mature, I realized that this was the little old town on the west side of 270, from a city that once started as nothing but cornfields and railroad tracks to a city that is growing suburb of Columbus, with a top-tier education system and plenty of things to do. You gave me the opportunity to play every sport that I wanted to as a kid, as well as many other clubs and camps, and join in the summer to pass my time. I'm very fortunate enough to say that I am a graduate of an alumni of Hilliard Darby High School, where I was blessed with the opportunity to play for the baseball program and win a district championship, something that many high school athletes don't get to experience. You introduced me to my best friend. You gave me some great experiences and memories with him that will last a long time. We've been through lots of happy moments and sad moments, heartbreaks, fun moments, and many more. You helped me find my faith and love for God at a time in my life when I needed it the most. And I will forever thank you for that. You've helped me grow as a person, as a leader, and find my main purpose and goal in life. From the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for all that you've done for me and my family. Thank you for changing me for the better. In the end, I hope I made you proud. Love, Drew." Matthew 10:14 is what you put in your signature. And it says, "And whoever shall not receive you, nor your words, when ye depart out of this house or city, shake off the dust off your feet." Whew, man. Sorry, I'm not the best reader. No, but I wanted to share people, like, that's what I saw on my Facebook feed on August the 6th, was that letter to our city and to all the people that love you and care about you and don't know you or know you and that are friends, right? And man, I wanted to share that and apologize to our audience for how horrible I read, but man, I'm very thankful. And so can we unpack that a little bit? Man, you wrote an incredible letter as a young man leaving high school. Man, that meant so much to me when I read that. I'm like, man, this kid, he's got it. He's got it he's got it way better than I did when I left high school. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate the compliment. I don't know how I'm somewhat decent at writing. Thank you to my mom. She was a pretty good writer, I guess. I got the traits from her. But no, yeah, I feel like I owed it to say something about that just because it is my home. I wasn't born here, but Hilliard will always be home to me. I'm proud to be from Hilliard. There's no other place I would have rather spent my childhood until high school. And so I just wanted to make it public that I'm thankful for the city for all they've done. A lot of people, they're going to talk down about Hilliard because of some of the issues that they've had, but to me, Hilliard's the best. It's the best for growing up. So much to do here. Like I said, the school system's great. And I truly was thankful. A lot of my friends at school talk about how they don't like where they're from. And that's something I'm proud to share is people ask me where I'm from. And I'm from Hilliard, Ohio. It's great here. We got a lot to do. We got a lot of great people here. It's a growing suburb. I got nothing to be ashamed of. And I'm super thankful that I was able to grow up here and share how thankful I was for the city via social media, especially with the negativity now you see online. I feel like it was a positive outlook for me and for the city as well, just to show how good it was and how good we have it. And it's a blessing from God for sure.
I think you're wise beyond your years. And I'm telling you that as somebody that's many exits down the freeway ahead of you. You're wise beyond your years because it always comes back to home. And home for me is Cleveland. And I will fight. I have a massive tattoo on my arm that I wish was a little smaller, but I have a massive tattoo because at the end of the day, that's home. And I will fight and I will defend and I will care and always want to go home, which for me was Cleveland. You mentioned social media and jokes and all that. Hey, it's Cleveland. Like, we're the joke of everybody, but at the end of the day, that's my home, and I will fight and defend and care for those people because they raised me. And I am who I am today because of Cleveland, Ohio. And that's why I connected so much with what you said, because that's Hilliard for you and that's Columbus for you. But I also know your faith has played a very important part in that letter. Matthew 10:14 is something you quoted, and shaking the dust off your feet. Man, can you talk about your faith a little bit?
Yeah, I'll start when I was a kid. We grew up going to church back home. None of us really enjoyed it. We're kids. We have other things we'd rather be doing. But came here, grew up going to summer church programs. I always believed in a God. I believed in him, obviously, but I never really fully took into what he was saying until about my senior year is when it really hit me that I need to get closer with him. I went through a rough patch to start this past year, 2024. A lot of small events that kind of built and led up to me just not knowing what to do with life, questioning what is life, why is it happening to me? And I just remember sitting down. I actually texted Ryan Rose about it, ironically, because I had nobody else to go to. So I texted her about it, and she was like, you need to just turn to God. So I just remember opening the Bible and just sitting there for 2 hours that night, just reading different scriptures and memorizing them and trying to connect on what they are saying versus what's happening in my life. And I started going to church, Rock City, every Sunday that I can. It's hard to try to go when you're at school, but anytime I'm back home, I try to go. Learning a lot from there, and I'm still not perfect. I still have my mistakes that I'll make, but I'd say getting closer to God and talking to him it's definitely something that's been a part of my character over the past year. He's helped me through school, through breakups. I lost my dog, my grandmother, my great uncle within the span of 4 weeks. So it was tough. He helped me get out of it. He always pushed me to see a better side of things, and I'm super thankful. Every day I wake up, first thing I do is say my thankful prayer that I'm blessed to be alive. Some other people don't get that opportunity, and you got to make the most of the opportunity. And before I go to bed, I pray. Before meals, I pray. So I'm praying a good amount, reading the Bible. I actually have a Bible app on my phone that when I don't have my hand Bible with me, I got my app. And then social media as well. Looking at what your feed is also a good sign of how close you connect with God. So most of my stuff on Instagram, if it's not sports related, it's about faith. Seeing different Bible verses, listening to different people talk about Jesus and stuff like that, it connects me to them as well. And that's one of the best things it's ever happened to me, was getting that relationship with God and just building that connection with him through church and through different people. I've been able to meet so much cool people. It's brought us together in a way. We see each other at church, we talk, and it's just good vibes like that. So I'm super thankful for that. And like I said, it's probably the best decision I could have ever made.
Podcast didn't exist when I was growing up, but I feel like I'm talking to my younger self. I really mean that. I genuinely mean that, dude. I feel like I'm talking to my younger self, although I didn't play baseball or it wasn't gifted as you are, and I didn't go to college to play baseball, but man, I feel like I'm talking to my younger self. And so I want to encourage you, because you may not face Goliath, but you've got your own giants. And I tell you, I'm 50. I'm embarrassed to say it, 55 years old come July in 2025. And I'll tell you, I'm still not perfect, man. Everything you just said, just know this, okay? It's really important that you know this as a young man. Everything you just said, I'm 55 and I could repeat everything you just said. It's a journey. It's a process. And it doesn't mean that we should just excuse things away. But at the same time, man, it's a journey and it's a process. And we make mistakes and we learn and we do our best. And you're doing that. And there's a scripture that talks about teaching your children the word and they'll not stray from it. And so you're in the word. And it doesn't mean that, man, I don't pray before every meal. I wish I did. I know so many people that do, and I wish I did. I should be better about that. But at the same time, don't get caught up in that, because God's watching your heart, not if you prayed before you ate. But at the same time, he appreciates when you pray before you eat, because you are showing appreciation to him for the fact that you got supplied a meal, right? Pitbull. I don't think it's in the scripture somewhere, but Pitbull says every day above the ground's a good one. And hey, the great philosopher Pitbull said that. And every day above ground's a good one. And man, I love everything you just said there, because every day above ground is a good one. And we should appreciate that. And we should thank God that, hey man, today I woke up and I got air in my lungs. Because as you get older, you're going to find that friends of yours, people you love, people you care about, people you don't even know, that didn't end that well that day. And yet we have air in our lungs and we got up to do that today. Last thing I'll tell you, I would say this too. Gosh, it was a year ago. I lost my dog and one of my childhood best friends. I went to the service to say goodbye to him. I was a pallbearer. And then I got home that night and my dog died. And man, Drew, I'll tell you, that's just life, dude. And it hurts. And so I feel what you just talked about, losing those things. As men, I think we bury them. We don't deal with them, but we got to do that. And man, you're so wise beyond your years. That's all I'm trying to say. You're so wise beyond your years, and I'm really, really proud of you. I really am.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
Yeah, so obviously we have the season coming up. First game is February 14th, I think. We play a junior college from Michigan. So I'm looking forward to that, but really just continue to get better, get stronger, get faster, work for the season, try to go win a championship, and then graduate next spring and hopefully go to a 4-year. That's the goal. God's got plans for me. I just got to continue to keep working, keep praying. They're going to be answered. The goal is to go to Division I. If that doesn't happen, I'll be blessed with wherever I can end up after this. You don't always get the dreams that you ask for, but even if it's not playing, I'd love to stick around in baseball and coach. Baseball has always been my first love, and it will always be my love. I just don't see myself doing anything other than baseball. So definitely something with baseball. And then, yeah, that's about it. Just work. You can't talk about all the things you want to do and not work for it. That's another thing I've learned. It's easy everybody wants to say, oh, I want to go be a professional baseball player. I want to go play Division I baseball. But do you actually want to? Are you doing the little things every day? Are you getting up and working out and hitting every day, or are you just sitting there waiting for somebody to force you to do it? You actually have to want it. So that's another thing I've learned, is just there's always going to be people that are hunting for your spot, and you got to find something to get 1% better every day. That's what I tell myself. Whether it's hitting, lifting, throwing, running, I got to find 2 things to do to get better and put myself ahead of the guy in front of me.
Man, you are wise beyond your years. I have 2 things for you. First, shout out to your parents. You want to give a shout out to them?
Yeah, mom and dad. I love you guys to death. I know I wasn't the easiest kid to raise, but I'm super thankful to have you guys as my parents. You guys sacrificed a lot for me to be in this position that I'm in today. I can never repay you guys for all the debt that I owe you. Mom, all the times I've asked you for money, and Dad, all the times you've not hung out with your friends to just come throw me batting practice for a chance at the collegiate level like this at a small junior college in Nelsonville, Ohio. I want to give a shout out to my brothers as well. They're my best friends, my brothers. We fought when we were kids, but growing up, we've matured out of that, and you guys have been there for me ever since I started playing baseball, and I can't thank you guys enough. I know the hours of watching me get mad when I would fly out to the center fielder because I wanted to hit a home run, and I thought it was easy to hit a home run every time. You guys to death, and again, that's some debt I can't repay back. But yeah, just my family's been there for me since day one, and I'm super thankful for them. And I want to make them proud every day, whether it's not playing baseball or whether it's being a better person. They all motivate me to be better than them and work hard for the things that they have and just be like them, especially my dad. Him and we fought a lot growing up, but he's my best friend. I would I'd do anything. I'd do anything to have him be my coach again. He's the man that got me to where I am. I could give a shout out to 1,000 different people. If it wasn't for him, none of this would be possible. I wouldn't be playing college baseball. You know, all the times that we fought arguing in the car, all the 5 a.m. hitting sessions, all the 9 p.m. hitting sessions. He's been there for me. He's seen me at my worst and he's seen me at my best, and I'm super thankful for him, especially. I just want to be. He always tells me I'm not raising you to be a baseball player. I'm raising you to be a man. And if I can be 25, 50% of the man he is, then something went right. Because that man he's a gift from God that I'm super blessed to have in my life every day. I wake up and he's the first person I talk to for 20 minutes when he's at work.
Dadgum, man. They raised a good one. Everything you said as a dad of kids your age, man, they raised a good one. And you got me choked up many times there, which is on brand, but man, they've raised a good one. So let me give a shout out. I've never met them, but let me give a shout out to them as well. They've raised a good one. I think anybody listening to this will also say that, as if you're a parent, they're going to say the same thing. They raised a good one. Here's my second question for you. And this is so weird to ask you because you're not even that many miles down the road yet, but man, what would you tell your younger self?
I would just tell myself, stop worrying about the things you can't control. Stop trying to impress everybody else and try to fit in. Just be yourself. Growing up, I was a kid that, I battled ADHD, so I wanted to fit in and be like everybody else. And I feel like I lost a lot of that with trying to impress everybody else and change things that I did so that I would fit in and look better, especially getting into relationships and stuff. You want to make her happy, but at the same time, you can't change your morals based on yourself. And so that's what I tell myself. Just work hard. Don't take days off. Don't be lazy. You just have to you trust the process. It sounds simple, but it's my motto every day is trust the process. Just keep working hard, and you can only control your controllables. You can't worry about advantages. You can't complain if other things are going well for other people. In baseball, the umpire's giving them all these calls. We're not getting anything. Yeah. You got to adjust to it. Everybody's got to play through it. You're not just getting bad strike zones. Everybody's getting bad strike zones. It's how you deal with it. And that's one thing I feel like I get to my head was I would say things would be unfair. I wouldn't blame myself for anything. And that's where I feel like I lost a lot of things. I lost out on a lot of things was because I worried too much about the little things and I was never happy. And I think if I worried less about the little things and just worried about what I can control, I feel like I would have been a lot happier and I would have been more successful, especially in baseball with that. And then another thing is just have fun, be a kid, go get involved more. I feel like I didn't really do much in high school, mainly because I was focused on baseball, but kids would invite me to hang out and I'd be like, nah, man, like I'm fine. There'd be times I'd just sit in my room at night, watch TV, listen to music because I just didn't really want to be social. And I feel like I lost a lot out on high school because of that. Just tell myself to go out there and have fun every once in a while and then just control the controllables. Those are my two big things I would have told myself when I was a kid.
Man, you're the best of us. Let me tell you that from a guy 30 miles down the road, at least 30, probably more. You're the best of us, and I'm so thankful that you and I got to connect and that you would be willing to come on the podcast today. Is this your first podcast?
First podcast I've ever made. Tried to make one when I was in middle school, but it didn't really work out. So that's the first real one.
If you ever get famous, just remember who your first podcast was with. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, man, it's been so good to spend time with you. I can't wait to see you again because I want to give you an even bigger hug, man. You are wise beyond your years, and I think anybody that listens to this podcast today will say the same thing. You're wise beyond your years, and don't lose that, okay? Yeah. Don't lose the love for your family. Don't lose the love for your hometown. Don't lose that because there's something special about home. Everything else goes south. Having home, no matter where that is, what dot on the map that is, having home is very special. And the fact that you wrote that letter, which I horribly read early in the podcast, the fact that you wrote that letter to your hometown tells me you're going to be okay because we got to find our center, whether it's our family, whether it's our friends, whether it's Jesus, whether it's our hometown, whatever it might be, because there's times in our lives when we got to find our center, and it can be any of those because something has got to bring us back to center because life gets crazy. And man, I'm so proud of you, dude. I really am, and I'm so thankful you came on today. And I hope people that have listened, if it's a parent raising a child, or your friends and family who I'm sure you'll share this link with, which I'm not asking you to, but I'm saying, like, I think anybody that listens to this today, I hope they realize, find your home, find your center, and at the end of the day, find Jesus. And you have all three of those. And I'm so proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you. And I can't wait to see you again.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the words. I appreciate you for letting me, speak on here. It's really cool to be able to speak my mind on a podcast with stuff that I know will help impact the community. And yeah, I'm just super thankful for that. And I definitely will share this. I want to promote the podcast a little bit more. It's a good podcast. I think people can take a lot away from listening to all these different episodes. You bring in different people with different backgrounds, and it's unique because we can all connect in one way or the other with different stories, and that's just the great world of technology and social media that we live in.
Man, I'm really proud of you. Are you off on Christmas break right now?
I am, yes, sir. I have about a month off, so I'll be here for a while. I'm gonna try to go to church as much as I can.
Hey, that's fine. It's fine. I won't be there Sunday. All right, let's hook up. That's not for everybody listening to the podcast. That's not for them. So let's hook up online. We'll figure it out. And man, I just want to give you the biggest hug ever and tell you just how proud I am of you. And man, thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Unscripted Podcast with your host, Aaron Conrad, from his studio in Old Hilliard. Make sure to like, share, follow, and review on your favorite podcast platforms. Also, make sure to check out my song Great and Mighty One on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your music. We'll see you next time on Unscripted with Aaron Conrad.